I am Suraksha Kotian, MCOM final. I am going to explain tax planning versus tax avoidance. Let's know the meaning of tax planning. Tax planning means financial planning for tax efficiency. Tax planning includes financial and business decisions to minimize the incidence of tax. It aims to reduce the one's tax liabilities and optimally utilize the tax exemptions, rebates, and benefits as much as possible. Tax planning means it is the legal way of reducing your tax liabilities in a year. It will help you to utilize the tax exemptions, deductions, and benefits in the best possible way for minimizing the tax burden. It is done in a legal manner. Examples for tax planning: investment under Section 80C, that is payment rebated deductions; reinvestment under Section 54, 54EC, etc. Next, let's know the meaning of tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is an act of using legal methods to minimize the tax liability. Tax avoidance is the use of legal methods to reduce the amount of income tax that an individual or business owes. It means tax avoidance is an act of using legal methods to minimize the tax liability of individual or business. Examples for tax avoidance is the practice of including making the false statements, underreporting of income, claiming the personal expenses as a business expenses, etc. Next, discuss about the tax planning versus tax avoidance. Basics: tax planning, tax avoidance. First one, meaning. Tax planning. Tax planning is a financial planning for tax efficiency, where tax avoidance is an act of using legal methods to minimize the tax liability. Second one, nature. Tax planning is morally correct and legal practice, where tax avoidance is a legal practice but not be considered moral. It means tax planning is morally correct and legal practice because it is done in the legal manner by applying the moral of law, where the tax avoidance is done in a legal practice but not considered moral of law. Next one, practice. Tax planning is the practice of tax savings, where tax avoidance is the practice of hedging of tax. It means tax planning helps in saving a good amount of money over the long run with the smart tax. On the other hand, tax avoidance is the practice of investor takes with the intent of reducing the risk of losing. Next one, benefits. Tax planning. The tax minimized through the proper planning can be fruitful for long term, where tax avoidance is benefit of tax avoidance remains for short term. Tax planning. It is a benefit of tax planning remains for long term because of the lawful considerations, where the tax avoidance is benefit for remains short term. Next one, objective. Maximizing after tax return in tax planning, legal tax avoidance to minimize the tax in tax avoidance. It means the objective of tax planning is maximizing the tax return, where the objective of tax avoidance is using the legal methods to reduce the tax. Next one, desirability. Tax planning is always desirable, where tax avoidance is maybe undesirable in some cases. It means tax planning is done in a most efficient manner, so it is always desirable, where the tax avoidance is done in a legal manner but not desirable. Next, Next difference is legal implications. Tax planning takes the deductions, exemptions, relief to rebate for reduction of tax liability, where tax avoidance makes the use of loopholes for the reduction of tax liability. It means tax planning is using legal methods for reduction of tax liability. On the other hand, tax avoidance loopholes means legal way of avoiding the payment of tax or tax bill due to the gap in tax legislations. Next one, purpose. Tax planning ensures the tax efficiency, where tax avoidance is minimize the tax. It means the purpose of tax planning is very clear. It increases the tax efficiency. On the other hand, the purpose of tax avoidance is minimization of tax liability. Next one, planning. Tax planning is before tax liability arises, where in tax avoidance, the planning for avoidance before tax liability arises. It means in tax planning, the planning is done before the tax liability is incurred or before the tax returns arises, where the tax avoidance is planning for avoiding the tax liability before it arises. Next one, ethics. In tax planning, it is ethical manner, where in tax avoidance it is unethical. It means tax planning will done for ethical manner, where the tax avoidance does not have the ethics in their legal obligations. Thank you.